When it comes to Anne Boleyn, we usually think of the ending. A brilliant, capable queen. A rise that unsettled a kingdom. A fall that came from the hand of her own husband, Henry VIII. We picture the scaffold. The sword was raised once clean and deliberate. A dry sound in the air. Then nothing. That image lingers because it feels final. But the tragedy did not begin with the blade. Long before the sword ever reached her neck, something quieter unfolded. Protection was withdrawn. Affection became a procedure. Every kindness was rationed. Anne did not simply die on that morning in May. She was guided toward death step by step, with calm voices, formal titles, and a harsh politeness.
Today, with the support of AI, I will take you back in time to witness what Henry VIII actually did to his second wife in the days before the sword fell.
Prepare your heart. This is a bitter story about love, power, and what happens when a man no longer needs to look at the person he is about to destroy. The day protection was withdrawn. First, let's go back to the moment where it all started. Right now, we are inside the tower on the day when Anne Boleyn is brought in by water through the Traitor's Gate, as queens have done before her. The river smells the same. The stones are wet. Nothing here announces disaster. She steps onto the wharf expecting questions, perhaps a sharp exchange, perhaps delay. Instead, there is order. Names are checked. Instructions are short. A door opens. Another closes. The sound is dull, heavier than she expects. Inside, the rooms are familiar. Too familiar. These are the chambers she once used before her coronation. The same narrow windows. The same carved beams. Someone has already lit the fire. A chair has been placed where it always is. Everything is prepared as if she were staying by choice. Anne asks where the king is. No one answers directly. A man bows and says he will inform her attendants. Another adjusts his stance, careful not to meet her eyes. The title, Your Grace, is still used. It lands strangely now, like a word spoken out of habit after meaning has drained from it. She waits. Minutes stretch. Footsteps pass the door, then fade. She listens for something, raised voices, urgency, any sign that this is a misunderstanding moving toward correction. None comes. Outside the room, the guards change shifts. Inside, food is brought. It is decent food, properly served. Nothing is refused. Nothing is explained. What does not arrive is a message. Henry VIII does not come. He does not send a note. No apology, no instruction, no warning. His absence is complete, and it carries more weight than anger ever could. Decisions have already traveled ahead of her quietly through corridors she cannot enter. Anne begins to understand this, not through fear, but through repetition. Each polite refusal, each delay, each answer that circles and returns empty.
The tower is not loud. It does not rush. It allows time to settle.
By evening, the door closes again. This time it is locked from the outside. No charges have been read. No fate has been spoken aloud. Yet something has shifted. The protection that once surrounded her has been removed with care, without spectacle. What remains is procedure moving steadily, with no need to hurry. She stands alone in a room that still remembers her arrival as queen. And somewhere beyond these walls, the king has already stopped looking back. When care became control, the next morning arrives without ceremony. The tower wakes the way it always does. Keys turn. Boots move across stone. A clerk pauses at a table to sort papers already marked with wax. From the outside, it looks like any other working day. Inside Anne's rooms, the routine continues as well. Her attendants enter on schedule. Water is brought. Clothing is laid out carefully. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is delayed. The message is subtle but unmistakable. Time is being managed now. Anne watches closely. She notices which faces remain and which ones are gone. Some servants who once spoke freely now keep their answers short. Others avoid speaking at all. When she asks a question about the king, about why she is still here, the reply arrives wrapped in courtesy, never in substance. Later that day, instructions arrive from outside the tower. They come sealed, read once, then passed along word for word. Anne is to remain in these rooms. She may keep a small household. She is to be treated well. The phrase is repeated more than once, as if repetition itself could soften it. Well turns out to be precise. The food is warm. The linen is clean. Her ladies are allowed to stay. Yet every movement is observed. Every conversation happens within earshot. She may write, but nothing leaves the tower. She may speak, but only to those already assigned to her. This is where Anne begins to change. At first she tries to reason. She replays conversations in her mind, recent arguments, small moments she once dismissed. She speaks quickly, then stops herself. Her expression shifts between disbelief and sharp focus. There are moments when she laughs suddenly, almost at herself, then goes quiet again. She asks if the king knows she is here, as if the answer might still matter. When no reply comes, she grows still. She starts to understand that this is no pause, no test, no waiting for tempers to cool. The care surrounding her is not concern. It is containment carefully measured, so it does not look like confinement. By the afternoon, Anne no longer asks questions meant to be answered. She watches instead. She notices how messengers leave without meeting her eyes.
How instructions are carried out exactly, never interpreted.
How her name appears on paper, but never in conversation. Henry VIII does not appear. He does not send word. He does not ask to see her. His presence exists only in what has already been decided and distributed. By evening, another document is folded and set aside. A seal cools as the wax hardens. The day ends with Anne still breathing, still standing still, addressed as queen. But everyone in the room now understands the same thing. The decision has already passed through here. The words that could kill. By the third day, Anne stops counting hours. She counts faces instead. One by one, they change. A musician who once lingered near her door is gone. A courtier she recognizes from the privy chamber does not return after being called away. When she asks where they are, the answers arrive softly and end too soon. No names, no explanations. Anne leans forward now when people enter the room. She watches mouths before they speak. She looks for hesitation, for any sign of sympathy that might break through habit. When she speaks, her voice is controlled, deliberate. She asks questions that invite reassurance. She asks them plainly as a queen, as a wife, as a woman who still believes someone will meet her halfway. No one does. She turns to what matters most. She asks again for the king. At first she phrases it carefully. Perhaps he has not been informed. Perhaps there has been a delay. Later, she stops pretending. She asks whether Henry VIII knows where she is. The room tightens. Someone says the king has been made aware. Another says nothing at all. No message follows. No visit. The absence stretches long enough to become an answer. Then the words begin to surface, not spoken to her directly. She hears them out of order, carried by tone rather than content. Impropriety, indecency. A pause before the last word heavier than the rest. Treason. Anne feels it land before she understands it. Her hand grips the edge of the table. She shakes her head once sharply, as if the sound itself might correct what she has heard. She speaks quickly now. She names dates. She names rooms. She insists on witnesses who were present, moments that can be checked. Her mind works faster than the room allows. No one interrupts her. They listen. They let her finish. Then they turn back to their task. Anne sees it then. not in their faces, but in their movements. The way a clerk rewrites a line instead of crossing it out. The way another page is added beneath the first. The way names are placed carefully spaced as if they are meant to sit together. This is not an argument unfolding. It is a structure being built. She looks toward the door again, certain now that if the king enters, everything will stop. It has to. A husband cannot allow this to go on. A man who once bent a kingdom for her would not remain silent. But the door stays closed. And in that stillness, Anne understands what these words are shaping toward. This is not meant to frighten her. It is meant to finish her. She has stepped into something darker than disgrace. By nightfall, the room holds a truth no one will say aloud. Her days are no longer measured here. Sword chosen. Hope collapsed. The realization does not arrive gently. It crashes. Anne feels it before anyone speaks to her. Her hands shake as she lifts a cup she does not drink from. Her breath comes uneven too fast, then held too long. Something has changed in the rhythm around her, and her body knows it before her mind catches up. This is no longer rumor. This is not pressure meant to bend her. She is going to die. The thought does not settle. It surges. One moment she stands rigid, staring at nothing. The next, she moves too quickly, crossing the room, stopping herself before she reaches the door. Her voice rises when she speaks now, not shouting, urgent, demanding. She asks who has been sent for. She asks what arrangements are being made. She asks questions that no longer pretend innocence. Someone answers badly, too carefully. A phrase lands wrong. A preparation mentioned too early. Anne's panic sharpens into focus. She presses for details, her words tumbling over one another. She demands to know how this can happen, how it can be allowed to reach this point. Her mind races ahead of the room. She thinks of her daughter. The thought cuts deeper than fear. She speaks Elizabeth's name aloud, once then stops, swallowing hard. She paces. She grips the back of a chair until her knuckles pale. The air feels thin. Her composure fractures, reforms, fractures again. Then she hears it. Not announced, not delivered to her. A fragment carried through the doorway by mistake. A reference to a man from Calais. A word she recognizes too well. Sword. Anne freezes. The room tilts. She steadies herself against the table, eyes fixed, unblinking. A sword is not discussed unless the end has been chosen. This is not preparation for trial. This is preparation for death. She turns toward the door with sudden clarity. If there is any place left to stand, it is there. If there is any person who can stop this, it is still him. She asks for the king again, this time without ceremony. She does not soften her voice. She does not disguise the fear. She needs him to come. She needs him to see her. Henry VIII does not come. No word follows. No delay is offered. The silence answers more cruelly than any refusal. Anne's panic crests. Tears break free, sudden and uncontrolled. She wipes them away angrily, ashamed of the loss of control, then cries again. Her body trembles with the effort to remain upright. She speaks rapidly, as if speed might undo what has been set in motion. Nothing slows. By the time night approaches, the waves inside her have battered themselves into exhaustion. She sits at last, breathing shallowly, eyes hollow with understanding. The fight has not saved her. It has only shown her the shape of what is coming. Somewhere beyond these walls, the decision is no longer a thought. It is an arrangement. And Anne Boleyn knows with terrifying certainty that her days are about to end. Life continued elsewhere.
You must be wondering, where is Henry? What is he doing? Well, he carries on his life like usual.
While Anne remains inside the tower, his days continue elsewhere, structured and full. Councils are held at the usual hour. Papers are brought in stacks, opened, signed, passed on. Meals are taken in company. Conversations move easily from foreign correspondence to household matters, from appointments to finances. Nothing in the rhythm of the court suggests interruption. He does not speak her name. When the subject appears, it arrives already reduced. The Queen's case. The matter resolved. Language tightens, strips itself of memory. What remains is administration. Henry listens to summaries, not details. He asks for outcomes, not accounts. The distance is deliberate. It keeps the work clean. Orders continue to flow. Instructions about timing, about location, about sequence. These are not discussed at length. They no longer need to be. The essential choice has already been made, and everything that follows exists to carry it out without error. Precision matters now more than persuasion. Henry turns his attention forward. Jane Seymour enters his days quietly without announcement, not as a declaration, but as a presence. Meetings are arranged so paths cross naturally. Time is found. Care is taken. The court understands what this means without being told. The future has begun to organize itself around a different figure. The Tower does not feature in his schedule. He does not travel there. He does not ask to see Anne. Updates reach him through others, shortened, filtered, delivered at the edges of larger conversations. He does not request more. To see her would be to reopen something he has already closed. Distance allows certainty to remain intact. At table, he speaks of stability, of order, of the need for clarity after disorder. These words settle easily among those listening. They sound reasonable, necessary even. No one challenges them. There is nothing left to debate. As the day wears on, preparations continue beyond his sight. He knows they are happening. He does not need to witness them. Authority does not require presence once it has been exercised. It requires only that it not hesitate. By evening, Henry is planning ahead. Household arrangements are discussed. Space is reassigned. Schedules are adjusted to accommodate what comes next. The court leans forward with him, already adapting. Somewhere else, Anne is still alive. Here she has already been replaced. Henry rises from his chair and moves on to the next matter. The decision no longer occupies his thoughts. It has passed from intention into action, from action into routine. Power survives by continuing, and Henry VIII does exactly that. Execution inside Tower Green. While life continued elsewhere, the tower reached its conclusion. Dawn arrives without announcement. Candles are already burning when Anne Boleyn is told the hour. The chaplain has been with her since before first light. Her clothes are laid out on a chair, dark fabric plain, cut nothing that catches the eye. No jewels are chosen. Her hair is parted and covered. She listens as the time is spoken aloud, then inclines her head. The routine moves forward. The walk is short. It stays within the tower walls. Guards take their places in silence. Boots strike stone at a steady pace. No one speaks her name. The green opens ahead, already prepared. The scaffold stands ready. The boards are dry. The space is clear. The swordsman waits apart, dressed simply, his blade still hidden. He does not meet her gaze. Anne climbs the steps on her own. She does not hesitate. She turns toward those gathered. Her posture is straight. Her hands are steady. When she speaks, her voice carries across the green without strain. She offers no defense, no accusation. Only the words she has chosen to leave behind. I am come here to die according to the law. I pray God save the king and send him long to reign over you. She stops there. No plea follows. No protest. She does not speak of innocence. She does not look for anyone in particular. She kneels. A cloth is placed over her eyes at her request. The chaplain steps back. The swordsman moves into position. He waits for the signal. The blade is drawn into view only at the last moment. One motion. Clean. Exact. There is no second movement. It is over. Her body is lowered at once. A covering is brought forward. The scaffold begins to empty even as the task is completed. There is no pause built into the process. Orders are already moving elsewhere. At court, Henry VIII receives the confirmation. He stands among others as the words reach him. His expression does not shift. He does not ask for detail. He asks only whether it has been done. When the answer comes, he nods once. A chair is drawn back. A cup is lifted. Conversation resumes around him without adjustment. The moment passes into record. Back inside the tower, there is no coffin prepared. A simple chest is found. Anne's body is placed inside without ceremony. The green is cleared. Guards change position. The scaffold is dismantled. By mid-morning, the space where she stood is empty. The tower returns to its work. At this point, Anne's name begins to recede almost at once. In the paperwork, lines are amended. Titles are removed. References are shortened then avoided. Servants once assigned to her are given new instructions. Rooms are unlocked, measured, and reassigned. What had been hers is redistributed without pause. The work is careful. Nothing is left ambiguous. At court, Henry VIII appears as expected. He stands where he always stands. He listens. He speaks of continuity of order restored. His posture does not betray strain or relief. There is no announcement to explain what has happened. Explanation is no longer required. The court understands how to follow the king's attention when it shifts. Conversation adjusts around him. Names are chosen carefully now. Anne's is avoided unless necessary. When it is spoken, it carries no warmth. It is handled like a concluded matter, not a loss. People watch each other closely, measuring which direction safety lies. Loyalty rearranges itself quickly. Plans move forward. Household arrangements are finalized. Schedules are revised. Space is made for what comes next. The court leans into the future with practiced ease. The present has already passed into record. Yet not everything can be closed. A child remains. Elizabeth I still lives too young to understand what has been taken from her, too important to be ignored. Her existence complicates the silence. It ensures the story cannot be fully buried. Outside the palace walls, accounts begin to spread. Different versions of the same morning circulate. Some speak of composure, others of fear. Words are added, removed, reshaped. Control over Anne's story loosens immediately. Memory refuses to stay organized. History starts arguing with itself. Inside the tower, the place where she stood is empty now. No marker remains. No sign explains what happened there. The grass grows back. The stone keeps its shape. Power holds, but it does not decide what endures. A life has been reduced to record. A decision has been absorbed into routine. The system continues intact and untroubled. And somewhere beyond its reach, Anne Boleyn begins to outlive it. History did not end on Tower Green. From the woman Henry erased came the ruler he never planned for. Elizabeth I. The daughter declared illegitimate grew into a monarch who outlived every judgment passed on her mother. She did not avenge Anne with violence. She did it with memory. By restoring Anne's name, protecting her legacy, and ruling with a discipline forged from loss, Elizabeth turned a private execution into a public reckoning. Under her reign, England changed course. The crown endured not through fear, but control. In that sense, Anne Boleyn's death did not close a chapter. It opened one. If you found this reconstruction valuable, please like the video, subscribe for more historical deep dives, and share your thoughts below. Thank you for watching.